So over 8 million Americans are behind on their rental payments. This could cause a tidal wave of evictions. Welcome to Housing Bubble 2.0 News of the Week, or as I like to call it, another episode of As the Housing Market Turns. Today is June the 28th. Yeah, we're at the end of the month. Everything is going by quickly once again. Randy Patrick here, putting the realism back in real estate, so hope everyone is doing well. This video was brought to you by our friends at Foreclosure.com. So if you want to check out the distressed property in your backyard or your neighborhood, go to gethousingdata.com. That's gethousingdata.com. It's my affiliate link. You can check it out. This is what people are using now. It's a tool to find out what's going on, as I said, in your backyard with respect to foreclosures, sales, pre-foreclosures, short sales, distressed properties, bankruptcies, the whole bit. A lot of information here is something you want to take a look at if you want to purchase a distressed property in the future. Again, that's gethousingdata.com. That's gethousingdata.com. All right, guys, so what are we talking about here? We're talking about 8.4 million Americans, which is about 15% of all renters, are behind on rent. This was a survey that was conducted by the Census Bureau between June 1st and June 13th of this month. So obviously it takes a look at the first half of the month, and it's a recent survey, so we're not talking a couple months back, so very recent. And the issue, of course, if you're renting and not paying your rent, is eviction. That's always something that's going to be on the scope. How do you handle that? Not too sure. But remember, where we are today, there's no more moratorium. There's no eviction moratoriums out there. The federal eviction moratorium and foreclosure moratorium ended actually at the end of July 2021. And then we had the CDC's kind of faux moratorium, if you actually subscribe to believe that. That was on for another couple more months. And then various states like in New York and in California and even some counties out there had their own eviction moratoria that was going on that went into, say, the end of January of this year, 2022. Right now, pretty much every location, as far as I'm concerned, no one should have an eviction moratorium. And a lot of people are exposed, which is, it's kind of it's a telling situation with respect to what's happening in the housing market and the economy right now. The survey found that 3.5 million households were somewhat likely to leave their rented spaces within the next 2 months because of an eviction. Most of the people in that 3.5 million are the working poor class, situated in large metro areas from New York to Atlanta, where the cost of living, including shelter, food, and fuel, has skyrocketed. So, you know what, when you hear certain groups, media, whatever, talk about the fact that inflation's good for us and do your part and just suck it up. Well, you know what? If you're in a specific income demographic, it's tough to make ends meet. And obviously what's going to happen is you're going to spend money on utilities, transportation, food, etc. And typically lodging/shelter is the component that does take a beating or is done last. And that'll manifest itself out in not paying your mortgage and not paying your rent. And obviously, landlords will evict for sure. About 6.7 million households said their rents increased on average $250 per month over the last year. Remember, doesn't sound like a lot they're saying, but when we're at the highest inflation rate in the past 4 decades, this is problematic. Again, back to the COVID time frame when we had stimulus, we had unemployment, so money was coming in, but right now, that money hasn't been around for a while. We haven't had those additional payments out there, so people now have their credit cards maxed out. That's for sure. Savings are drained. There's nowhere to turn. There's no free money coming, and there's no more protection by my government. Even though some people still think there is not. So ultimately, in the end, this is because of economic backdrop. We've got a recession. We've got surging jobless claims now. So a lot of things happening in the marketplace. But again, it's not like it's, 500,000 or 1 million. We're talking over 8 million Americans are in a situation that's really affecting, their lodging and where they're going to live. Very, very sad. Now, to make matters worse, we've got, 4 million Americans are priced out as home rents rise significantly. Home loan qualifications also skyrocket. So basically, whether, home ownership costs have gone up, which is no surprise. It's going to be tougher for first-time home buyers, but we're also looking at the fact that these mortgage, payment increases based on some median income and median price points to purchase a house, that these rate increases have effectively priced out some 4 million renter households with income in this range. So there's 4 million people, households, that could have applied for and possibly been able to purchase a home back a few months ago that can't do it now because the interest rates, the mortgage rates have risen so quickly and so dramatically that ultimately they're getting priced out. So this is significant. So that sort of means, well, I got to stay a renter. Well, okay, cool. Now we know rents are going up, and landlords, rightly so, they're trying to recover and protect themselves from any future issues with respect to what we had with COVID non-payments and moratorium and stuff like that. So ultimately, in the end, landlords are going to charge more to recover and to protect, which is going to affect the bottom line for a renter. So the renter's now rocking a hard place. I can't afford, or I can't, get a mortgage based on the changes that have happened in the environment. Renting is now even more expensive as well too. So it's kind of like what, out of the frying pan to the fire. Like, it's really tough when you talk about where am I going to live and personal lodging needs and stuff like that. It really is not easy out there for a lot of people. Obviously, soaring prices, that's the issue. The average American is now much less likely to be able to afford a home compared to a few months ago. Realize that we saw early in the year we still had sub 3% mortgage interest rates, and now it's above 6%. So we've basically seen a doubling of rates, which is substantial. Ultimately, in the U.S., our latest model update pointed to a substantial slowing in home price growth to the low single digits over the next year, said a Goldman Sachs analyst. So basically, we've got people saying that growth is over. Okay, we've peaked out. Sell your property. We've peaked out. If you can sell it, you may have to drop your price because it's going to be more competitive out there. To sort of, how do we know that this is happening? Well, guess what? Home showings across the U.S. have plunged 24% as the mortgage rates remained elevated. So home showings are down 24% year over year, and they're qualifying this as a private tour with an agent. So I'm your buyer's agent. You want to go see a property, we make an appointment to check it out. I go with you. That's how that's how they're looking at home showings conducted by an agent. All right. So down 24% year over year. Now there could be other reasons for that too, because there's more and better apps and websites that are actually staging homes or displaying them. There's a lot of drone footage, great camera shots, the whole bit, videos. I mean people are doing a good job out there, putting their home stuff on the internet, trying to sell it and showcase it. So when you take a look at how many homes am I disqualifying based on the internet and apps before I want to go see a couple homes, you see? So there could be a lot of reasons why, but ultimately in the end, the price points and I think the buyer sentiment is down enough to make an impact on home showings, all right? So interesting enough, you can see it's down 24%. Looks like the Northwest fell by 55%. So their showings were down by 55%. Midwest, 29%. The West, 27%. And the South by 14%. So the South still always kind of goes strong because you can see homes anytime down here based on the climate. But Northwest falling by 55%, which is interesting because number one, we're not really into the situation with respect to having severe weather in that month, and price. We still haven't got all the our interest rates or mortgage rates weren't quite as where they are now. Still with some hope. So having the Northwest fall by 55%, does that just mean that the prices out there in the Northwest, which is Washington State, Oregon, California, are they so expensive that it's just not going to work, right? You got Idaho, you got Montana. So is it that bad? I don't know, but it seems like it's significant. Ultimately, in the end, the National Association of Home Builders said that this is a troubling sign for the housing market and the broader economy. He also said that the 6 consecutive monthly declines is a clear sign of a slowing housing market and in a high inflation, slow growth economic environment. So realize that it's just not, people on YouTube that are saying we've got problems here. You've got, people who are, the chair for National Home Builders Association. You've got other people that are calling and going, yeah, we're in a situation here where it's not getting any better. We're seeing some significant changes, and we're not being positioned very strongly for the housing future as we go forward. So it is interesting to see how people are changing. Again, this time last year, people weren't even contemplating this, right? Double-digit appreciation, go, low interest rates, bidding wars. You're being shamed, for not buying because you didn't feel like it was the right deal for you, but you didn't, you had FOMO, fear of missing out. So a lot of things that can change in a year, let me tell you. The U.S. pending home sales rose unexpectedly in May, and NAR warns of a housing market transition. So basically, this rose a little bit, okay? 0.7% between May and April. That's pending sales. Now, for those of you that don't know, pending sales are homes that were active in the MLS. They were available. They fall under contract. So there's a buyer. It's pending the closing of the contract. So it's not closed yet, but typically they use this index as an indicator to future closings and that volume in the next, say, 30 to 45 to 60 days. So really, we didn't see a significant increase, even though there was a slight increase, but realize, hey, this is, they're talking about May. So what do I say May is? May, June, July is the summer selling season. So you're going to see activity. I was actually surprised that, I thought we'd see more activity. This is also indicative maybe that interest rates are starting to affect people who are going to go in contract May going forward. It'll be more telling when we have June and July's information. So interesting enough, even though there was a slight increase in pending sales, it's still down 12% year over year. Despite the small gain in pending sales from the prior month, the housing market is clearly undergoing a transition, quoted from Lawrence Yun, which is NAR's chief economist. So once again, you've got certain groups, certain people involved in the real estate industry or support industries for real estate, basically saying we're transitioning, okay? We're resetting, we're correcting. Lord knows we're crashing. I mean, people don't want to go as far as actually say those words. Kind of like, we have an affordability crisis. Well, that's just a nicer way of saying we have a housing bubble, all right? So it's all how you say it, but the meaning is there, okay? So we basically are seeing a transition, which means price drops, all right, which is what we all have been waiting for. So basically, this is May's data, and they expect that the June's data will even be worse and more telling as to what's going on in the marketplace. So there you go, guys. Very interesting. Now, if you're not already a subscriber to my channel and you appreciate the information and spin that I provide, if you could do me the great honor and hitting that subscribe button, I'd really appreciate that. So thank you. And if you think you're a subscriber or believe that you are, could you do me a favor and just hit the subscribe button again and reconfirm that, because I've been losing as many subscribers as I've been putting on. So you know what goes on behind the scenes, as I mentioned before. So anybody who just subscribes or resubscribes, I do appreciate that. So thank you. And you know what? Since we're talking about personal commercials here, obviously things are booming down here, guys. I'm looking for real estate agents in Florida, primarily my area, but as we expand throughout Florida. So if you're interested in becoming an agent, or you are an agent looking for a change, clearly realize that I focus on the distressed properties and where the opportunities are. We have investor buyers that have hundreds of millions of dollars in unlimited funding, so that's never an issue. So a lot of stuff out there, a lot of people we do business with. So please reach out to me if this is something interesting to you as well. Short sales are back. We're doing more short sales now. We're having more opportunities to discuss with homeowners. Market's changing, and homeowners who thought they could sell at the peak or with their equity are realizing that the market's changing. They don't have that ability anymore. They're losing that ability quickly. And now with respect to interest rates being up, and people aren't going to pay a premium for your property anymore. There's no need for that. So they're going to have a bit of a rude awakening. So it's time now to get into the short sale stuff. I've always talked about, my new products and services, which will be, kind of broader based foreclosure platform. Obviously, everything that you do in the short sale program will be included in that foreclosure one. You'll just transition to that at no cost. Okay, so if you want to get involved now, the action is here. I've shown my closings every so often when we have some good numbers. A lot of stuff happening. I'm seeing more homeowners. We're getting more people under contract now. So people need help, guys. We know how to do it, all right? So reach out to me. And also, one more thing, that I do have a real estate investment club in the area. It's called My Tampa REI Club. You can find us on meetup.com. Go to meetup.com. Check us out there. You can follow the group. It's actually listed as a group under Meetup. I typically do a meeting a month, if not more. In the summertime, I don't do as many, but our next meeting is going to be sometime in July. That's the landing page. You can just actually join the group. It doesn't cost you anything, but you're going to get notified when I have local meetings here. And this is the thing, too. We do talk about real estate, but we've had other speakers there talking crypto, talking, other ways to make money in related industries. Not necessarily always real estate based, but it's primarily real estate based here. So realize that you can come out to this free of cost. You can meet me and check it out. Okay. So I did mention, or maybe I didn't mention, but today is Tuesday, and this is what? This is the last Tuesday of the month. So what happened the last Tuesday of the month? We have something called Case-Shiller. So Case-Shiller released their information, and Case-Shiller, when they release their home price appreciation analysis, it's typically 2 months behind. So we're sitting in the end of June, and we're going to be discussing April's data. So realize that, I don't think we're going to see the full impact of rising mortgage interest rates in the April data. We'll probably see a little bit of it. But what we saw here is that we had a year-over-year annual home price gain from April of this year, from April to last year, of 20.4%. Okay, so we actually lost a little bit, 0.2%. So the year-over-year gain for March was 20.6%. This is 20.4%. So we actually have the first month of a slight slowdown. Again, 0.2% is not making a difference here or there. I know that. But my point is that, hey, guess what? We did have a bit of a slowdown. All right. So we take a look at the graph. Obviously, the middle part of the graph, that's 2006 and 7, where we see the peak for all the composites. There's 3 composites on this graph here: a 10-city composite index, a 20-city composite index, and the national index. The national index is in the dark line, the dark thick line there. All right. Now you can see where the trough was in 2012, peak, valley, trough, and you can see where we were going up on a pretty good pitch, but we've now gone from a good pitch to a exponential line, okay, going up to the top right corner here when we have 20% year-over-year appreciation across the board. Very telling. Now you want to take a look at the actual locations. Is always fun. Atlanta up 26.4%, Boston 15.1%, Charlotte 26.6%, Chicago 13%, Cleveland 14.5%, Dallas 31%. Dallas breaks into the top tier of over 30% deals. Okay, Denver 23.6%, Detroit 15.3%, Las Vegas 28.4%, LA 23.4%, Miami 33.3%, Minneapolis 12.3%, New York 14.3%, Phoenix 31.3%, Portland 19.1%, San Diego 28.5%, San Francisco 22.9%, Seattle 26.1%, Tampa leading the way for the second month in a row across the nation and year-over-year home price appreciation for April at 35.8%. That's interesting, and Washington at 12.7%. Now realize that for 30 some odd plus months, consecutive months, Phoenix has led the way in home price appreciation, and this is the second month that Tampa has actually overtaken Phoenix. We're looking at 35.8%, Tampa, Phoenix 33.3%, 31.3% for, Miami's 33.3%, Phoenix is 31.3%, and Dallas at 31%. So we now have 4 metro locations in the top 20 that have broken the 30% barrier, and we have a couple that are getting close in the 28s, San Diego and Vegas, and we have a couple that have broken over the 25%. So, this is a lot going on here, and, but we're also seeing and realize that, again, it's a 2-month drag on how they do the sales calculations. We know that the mix is a little greater, so maybe we're having, higher price points because the mix of properties being sold. So the over 500K segment, that's that $500,000 and above, there's NAR puts into 3 different segments, but either way, we're seeing more higher price homes sell, which is going to obviously drag up the median price point and the home price appreciation on the average. So there you go. So not that it's rocket science, but there's obviously reasons why things happen. My point though is that we're going to see this continue for maybe 1 or 2 months. We'll probably see some strong months for home price appreciation once the summer selling season's over, which will be August for some people, September for other locations across the board here, because realize in the south our school starts a second week of August, whereas up north other locations based on climate it starts the day after Labor Day. So it depends on where you're located. In the end, we should see slowing down after the summer selling season, and we're going to find out if May is any indication of the lack of sales, maybe June and July, where those are the premium months, May, June, July. If we see lack of sales there, then we know that this mortgage rate increase certainly has had a big effect in the marketplace, and realize that this should not come as any surprise to anybody. And the reason why, because what did the Fed say in one of my recent videos? The Fed says it's time to reset the market. You take a look at the plan is for the Fed to continue to increase rates. You take a look at minutes from the FOMC. It basically showed a continual increasing of the base rate up until the end of the year, and then they want to start quantitative easing sometime in 2023. They didn't really specify when it was. I would assume it's probably halfway or later in the year in 2023. So in the end, what they're really doing is they're actually promoting the market to crash so we can reset, and then when prices drop low again, they'll drop rates down to complement that, and we'll start this all over again. All right, so that's what we're looking at here. So lots are going to go on, lots will change the next little while, but this is where the opportunity is, guys. It really is. So if you want more information on, as I said, about real estate agent stuff, my program, deals, properties, whatever, please reach out to me. That's my email. Put in your phone number. I can get back to you. That's the scoop. So once again, I appreciate the views, the likes, and the comments. Please share the video with your family and friends. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. I look forward to speaking with you in a couple days. Everyone, take care.